Yo, what it do, people? What it do? No way, never happened. Yo, that is fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. Okay, gang, we got a lot to freaking cover today. It is about to get psychos. It's about to get psychos. Okay, first of all, let me go ahead and start out with told you. Yes, I'm gonna be that guy. I said I wouldn't be that guy. F that, I'm gonna be that guy. Because I've been explaining to folks, I wanna say close to 2 years. I have been calling it, like the OGs in the hood be like, hey, how you doing, Pops? I can't call it. No, I've been calling this sucker for close to 2 years now. And I'm sure after it's taken so long, some of y'all thought I was out my damn mind. But however, what had happened was YouTube finally dropped trial. They lowered the pants and said, come get some because it is official. Podcasts are on YouTube. Now, there are some things that are still not fully baked, but we are as baked as they need to be in order to get it twisted. So if you have a podcast and you've been parlaying, putting on this video type situation forever, stop that. Stop that. Don't be like, hey, you ain't my daddy. Don't tell me what to do. Okay, you don't got to do it. But trust me, you know what I'm saying? Fortune favors the fast and fortune favors the brave. So I don't know because I'm scared. No, none of that's going to play. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. It is time to get your podcast life on. Okay, so let's get into some particulars and break down the breakdown. And then I will tell you everything you need to know. You know what I'm saying? So listen up. If there is a situation, where I just want to put this out there early in the podcast, see my brain. I'm going to put this early in the stream in case there's people that watch this on a replay and just need to get down with the get down and run away. Yes, if you have an audio only podcast, you can still put your episodes up on YouTube for consumption. Is that dope? No. It's kind of like microwave White Castle. Microwave White Castles taste good when you're drunk, high, hungover, or you just don't got time and you need something quick. Microwave White Castles is the real deal. But if you really want to bagger, you got to go to the physical White Castle, order a bag of 10 and a large drink of choice. Pour some of that out, add some more Bacardi to it, and then finish them up. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, you can put audio podcasts. I just didn't say that. You can put audio podcasts on YouTube. I would give you a warning. Add some visual flair. Okay? Add some visual flair. And what do I mean by that? Get yourself a subscription to Storyblocks or Artlist, which is my current favorite, and just put some video elements there so it's not just mad boring. I will tell you why in a second, and I did not have the opportunity to clip this for real, but I'm going to take you there and probably get in trouble, but that's okay. It's okay. You know what I do? I'll just find you a screenshot in this so that we can be ready. Anyway, so yes, and yeah, I kind of agree with you, Ed. The ones with the bulletproof glass are the best. Yes, right? Ed's telling y'all the truth, right? If you just slide it in and get the microwave White Castle from Safeway, it's not the same. So yeah, you can throw your audio cast on YouTube, but podcast on YouTube, but you might not want to. All right, anyway, so let's get down with it. Get down. What is YouTube telling you? YouTube is saying that now you can take your podcast and make them official on YouTube. And how does one go about doing such a thing? First, check in your Creator Studio, and I'm loading mine up right now so I can show you where it's at. And check in your Creator Studio, and inside your Creator Studio, you will see a brand new podcast tab. Let's get to that studio real quick. I'm going to show you the back end of the Ecamm version because I've already set this up for us. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so if I come over here and browse, boom, then right here you see there's a podcast tab. If I click on the podcast tab, you'll see it automatically generated these playlists for us. Okay? The number one reason I can tell why they generated all these playlists for us is because these are episodic AF, right? They're kind of like all in there. However, what I did was I took the old playlist down here, which was the Flow by Ecamm Replay Edition, and I created a new playlist just called The Flow. It's up here at the top, right? Every time I hover over it, it closes it. So let me see if I can hover from the side. Nope. Anyway, so it's basically up here. In what do you call this thing? In Microsoft Edge, I'm sorry, I did not have my magic markers loaded. My bad. But I can zoom in on Ecamm here. Boom. So yes, you'll see right here, this episode has 33 in it. We technically have 37 videos. Some of those I didn't put in yet because I'm still contemplating whether they should go in there because they were designed to be highly visual. And originally we had taken them out of the audio playlist because of the fact they're highly visual. So now I just got to do some reformatting of that content and put them back up there. You know what I'm saying? Hold that thought, Rich. I'm going to start this. You don't have to. So, yes, you cannot. Rich is correct, but it's super easy to fix that problem, and we're in there. Ross, what it do, my man? What it do? Okay, so now you got your playlist made. Step into the liquid. Come over here and click on your playlist tab. On your playlist tab, you will see the ability to, and I'll come down here to Marshall's one because I'm making this. I haven't fully done it yet. But if I click here, I'm going to go ahead and say set as playlist. When I say set as playlist, YouTube tells us that, are you sure you want to set this? It will remove the podcast thumbnail. And I'm going to be like, yeah, why not? All right, because I need to show you how to do something. Okay, so if we step back into the AM again, come over here onto the old Marshall playlist, right? I can click on this little 3-piece, right? You got a little 3-piece McNugget right here. And then you're going to click this and you're going to go down to set as a podcast. If you click that and go set as a podcast, it will bring up a form for you to fill out. This is the part that's hyper important. Star this, write it down, make yourself a mental note. You need to add your title, your description, set the visibility to public, and add a thumbnail. This is where everybody is going to probably jack this up. You need to add a thumbnail. Okay? With this thumbnail, it has to be square. There was a dude once back in the day, and he said it's hip to be square, right? Huey Lewis. Come on, people. Where you guys at? All right, so you'll see this is what a square podcast thumbnail looks like. I want to warn some of y'all, because I know how y'all get down. I know how y'all be. Y'all design things and feel like you need to put a whole entire novel on the thumbnail. Not do that, You need to put your face maybe, some cool, enticing graphic maybe, and the title, period, point blank. You do not need to put a lot of unnecessary information recorded every Thursday at 6. None of that. You just need a good, catchy thumbnail. Think of it like an album cover. Some of the best album covers had the name of the band on it, period. Some of the album covers had the name of the artist on it, period. The band name was on the back. Some of them didn't do that. They just had beautiful picture, right? If you can pull that off, then pull that off, all right? So do not get it twisted. Do not get crazy. Just make a beautiful thumbnail. If you have a problem with this, check out Canva, check out Adobe Express, and honestly, this is the one where I would tell you to pay somebody to make you a good podcast show thumbnail template in either Canva or Adobe Express, Photoshop if you're nasty. And the reason for that is now you are in a highly competitive field and you're not going to get away with your gangster looking nails, right? You can't go up into the party without getting your nails did, right? So you might as well go and get somebody to help you make a clean, beautiful thumbnail similar to the thumbnail that we have created for the flow, right? Let me go ahead and drop this back in there, show you like this is clean, right? It is easy to see. When it's super tiny, it's still easy to see. You know what I'm saying? So if you take some of y'all's thumbnails where y'all be getting all busy and trying to put like, this is the Philip Swindle podcast coming to you from Alabama in the name of Jesus, amen. You can't read none of that when it's this big, right? Look, at this big, you can still read the flow. Let's see how can we get it. Can we get it? At like that big, you can still read the flow. Okay? So, yes, I'm with you. Like, Photoshop is still the business. I tend to use, all my podcast stuff is actually done in Adobe Express. And then, of course, the Ecamm stuff, we all do it in Canva because I need to be able to make sure that Katie and Caleb can get in there and get their hands dirty too. All right? So, it was just a example, Phil. You don't need to come and defend your honor. What's up, brother Phil? How you doing, Poppy? Anyway, so yes, this is the main winners, is that you have got to do this. Get that square thumbnail. That's the hyper important aspect of it. And let's get back to the showgram. Okay, so you want to put in a description. This is your master description for your podcast. You want to drop that in there. For this particular case that we were doing the Marshall crates, I'd probably go in and change some of this description. And then like I'd take out the part about this is season 2 and all of that. I just make a good, like, enticing description. Cool beans. Talk to your man, Chad. Chad can help you make a good description. It can help you add some copy to it, right? Because everything is copy if you listen to The Incredibles like Uncle Ray, right? And then your title. Now, here's what's important. If the one that you have on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever your podcast getting is got, includes the word podcast, put it in here. If the one you have on wherever your podcast getting is got doesn't have the word podcast in it, do not change it on YouTube thinking it's going to help with your boy Al. Algorithm, none of his business. It needs to be exactly the same. It is in your best interest. As a matter of fact, on YouTube's official documentation, they tell you don't just stuff unnecessary words in the title. Make the title very much like it already exists on your current podcast getting platforms. On all of our podcast getting platforms, we have just the flow, right? And so initially, Katie had made this playlist over here, which I just lost. Oh, here it is. Where'd it go? Oh, maybe it was over here. Yes, she had the Flow by Ecamm replay edition because we do a live recording, right? And that's not going to fly for YouTube podcasts. You don't want to put that. It's just too much info. You want it to be exactly sort of the same. Okay, let's get in here. I'm going to come in and I will get back to your guys' questions, but in a second. Right? Okay, so now in that description section in your videos, in your playlists, if I were to go into the videos area here, you will find out that if I click here, I scroll down, this is just my standard video stuff, right? I don't need to put individual nails on the individual videos at this point. My guess is that will change. For right now, you don't need individual nails on the various stuff. Okay, also in here, it would be in our best interest to come back and add those timestamps, and they are getting there. But that's Paul Duncan's job. So he'll get to it sooner or later. There will be timestamps in here. So yes, there will be more information coming up. Right now, it's not necessary to do anything other than put all your videos in a playlist and then make sure on your content tab, don't worry about this last tab that says podcast. As a matter of fact, I went in and removed the podcast tab from almost all of this stuff with the exception of the top one. And you can tell by looking at your playlist itself, it doesn't say type equals podcast. Let me scroll this in and bigging it just a taste. Type podcast, right? So they had picked all kind of random stuff for me, and I didn't like that. You're going to want to go back and audit. You want to go back and audit and make sure that you have things that match a video podcast in that playlist. You don't want random effery in that podcast thing, right? You want your podcast one to be clean, completed episodes, in the vein of what you're talking about, no other random clips, no other random videos from another source, because you can put videos from a different source in your playlist. You want this playlist to be clean as a whittle. All right? So now we done covered all of that. Let's go and check. Let me check my notes, make sure I was doing all of that out of the top of my head. So now, if you have an existing playlist, again, click on the little cheeseburger icon down here like you see at the bottom, and then press on that and say change it into podcast, fill out the details, right? Now, after we've done all of this, you will have the ability to, and I don't think none of this has happened a lot yet, but if I was to go into the analytics, wait, why are you clicking on Ecamm instead of on the actual browser? Microsoft Edge, where did you go? There we go. If we were to click on the analytics, and then you're going to see eventually you're going to have your podcast area here. So if I click on that, that takes me to my podcast analytics. And because I told you, monetize your podcast, you'll see we made an entire 29 cents on 33 episodes of The Flow. If you get into podcasting to make money, not your move. But podcasts have now hit YouTube. This might change. This might exactly change. Okay. All right. Anyway, so you can get it here. You can see your analytics is in there. It'll tell you what kind of views that you're popping off. Tell you what your average watch time is. Wow, we've got 58 hours of watch time out of this, which is pretty good. I wonder, so many people come to the live taping that I wonder how many people watch it again as a replay after Luis has done his magic. I'm actually curious about that. But now what we will do, because we know this is happening on YouTube, now we can market against this because this is ready, right? Unlike you, we have a marketing team. We have myself, we have Katie, we have Caleb, we have Luis, we have Austin, and recently Paul. So we have a pretty dope marketing team. So we're good. Matt, this is funny because people be thinking that mess, but it's not how it works. You know what I mean? Anyway, so you go in here and it's showing you like the analytics. It's telling you like this is our most recent upload. Like, so you are going to get a lot of good real deal information. In the last 48 hours, 41 people saw this sewed. You can see what your latest edition is. And you can see, what your watch time is looking like. You can see your revenue streams look like. You can check out the content inside here and see what's popping that way. Starting to see what your retention looks like. You see what your audience looks like and the revenues, right? So you are going to have full-fledged analytics inside this bad boy. Now, before we get into planning like your content strategy and understanding what's going on, let's go a little bit deeper into some of the other stuff about the old podcast, okay? So it's important that we are using all of the podcast best practices, but let me check on y'all and y'all's questions first. Greg said it's time to bake some podcasts. So I favorited some stuff. First one, Rich said you cannot put MP3s on YouTube. Yeah, of course you can. But converting an MP3 into an MP4 is pretty simple. You have QuickTime. Open up your MP3 and QuickTime, export it as a video. But don't do that. Like I said, you want to add some visual. You record your podcast live, so you're already square. You already have the videos, so you're square. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to F up everyone in the chat. Everyone in the chat who, like me, started podcasting back in 2004, this is going to F your whole face up. Why? Because you want it to be like 2004. This is not even like 2022. This is 23. We're on a brand new thing, so you got to stop thinking in what used to be. What used to be was. This is what is, right? Remember the forms. Be, am, is, are, was, were, been. We're in the am part, right? This is what it is right now. Not who gives a monkeys? That's what they say in Britain. Who gives a monkeys what happened in the past? Who gives a monkeys what Lipson and those guys do? They're not video podcasts. What you care about is what YouTube is doing. Show of hands, people in the chat. Anybody want to tell me right now, what is the number one podcast player in the world? I can wait. Come on, think about it. Type away, keyboard. What do you believe is the number one podcast player in the world? I'm curious as to your thoughts. It might surprise you. You're not going to believe it. All right, we getting some votes in. Matt says Apple. Aubrey says Apple. I said podcast player. He ain't a player. He's a dick. Not even the same. Podcast player. All right, there we go. Big Poppy Rich is the answer. The number one podcast player in the world is YouTube, has been YouTube, and will be YouTube. Right? And Greg got it on point. YouTube first, Spotify second, Apple third. YouTube always has been the number one podcast players, but people are freaking mental because they only think about watching fart videos and cat videos and whatnot. When you count the user base, right? The user base of Spotify is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 500 mil. The user base in the Apple Music or Apple Podcasting is roughly the same, but the user base in YouTube is just stupid, right? Do you know that shorts are averaging 50 billion views? Like, come on, son. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Now, here's the reason why. And I said I was going to pull this up, but I've been busy talking to y'all. So let me show you the reason why. I brought this up yesterday, and your mans said, oh, yeah, Doc, you're right. So let me see if I can find this real quick. Let me do some scrubby scrubs. Scrubby scrubs. Scrubby scrubs. Boom. Boom. I'm going to hit pause so we don't get in trouble. Okay. And then hit the brose. Oh, we got to switch to Chrome. Let me duplicate this because I don't want to mess this up. We're going to duplicate this brose and then change it to Chrome. Boom. Yesterday we were talking about this, and I said, right, because I was talking to Sean at Social Media Marketing World, and we didn't even know this was happening. The day that we were in the hallway having this conversation about some stuff that he's working on with his new branding and whatnot, this came out. And then when we were later the next day, I was like, did you see the news kind of thing? Yeah, right. Talking to everybody on the floor, did you see the news? And most people hadn't heard yet. So anyway, this is where people are slipping. And again, if you watch this episode, Sean would tell you I am 100% right. Every freaking television in the store right now, every television in anybody's house that's less than 5 years old, some older than 5 years old. That one back there is older than 5 years old, and that's YouTube playing right now. Probably less, about 8 years old. Has YouTube on it. And what Sean brought up in this video, and again, I don't want to play it to get us in any trouble. The OTT statistics on what is the number one over the air app, like a set-top box app, is YouTube. So if you go to the Buy More, the freaking Costco, hell, nowadays the Piggly Wiggly, and you look at any of them TVs in there, They all got YouTube on it. And many people, we've discussed this many, many times, many people put on a podcast on the TV as not to be lonely while they cleaning house or, waxing their saddles or doing whatever it is they do. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, it is super important that you get it through your head that who gives a monkeys what used to happen with MP3s and the way they used to be. Why y'all looking at my desk? At MP3s the way they used to be. This is what it be. Again, Matt, listen, Matt, I love you, bro. What happened to us in the past as OGs, we got to forget that because that's not it. RSS is dead. I just want to call it right here. It has been dead for like 5 years. I understand why people think it's not dead, but most people don't even use it the way they're supposed to use it. Outside of us tech-oriented people, the average person doesn't even know how to use their podcast player right. So they tend to consume podcasts by going to the show and finding the episode and play it. I have a whole entire family full of muggles, and like not one of them knows how to use the RSS. They use the podcast player and they play the damn things individually as the episodes come out. It's crazy, but it is what it is. Yo, what it do? How you do, fam? Good to see you here. Absolutely appreciate you. Not surprised, YouTube, listen, music. That's another one, dude. Everybody that's paying for Spotify, cancel that joint. And if you got premium, just use YouTube Music. It's better, and it's already part of your subscription. All right. 70% of podcasts are now video podcasts. There you go. That's a good stat. Thank you, Greg. Oh, did I tell y'all I got a chance to meet Greg, and we had a good time. Hey, Greg bought me whiskey, so we friends. I don't know about the rest. Ain't none of y'all bought me no whiskey. Well, Rich did. But Greg bought me a whiskey. So Greg is on my forever friends list. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let me get back to these favorited things. Because, Rich, just convert it to a video, throw some video on it, right? See, again, Eileen, who cares how it's getting to Apple Podcasts? Why do you care about that? We literally just stated that Apple's reach, let's get an actual current stat from Bing. I'm going to give you an updated stat instead of the stat that I had before. Dear Bing, how many users on a People podcast? Here we go. These are official new numbers because Bing is up to dizzy. 28.5 million. I lied. I thought it was like 50, right? We're going to give them at 28.5 million. Let's pull up this even brand new thing from January 23. I hate you. I'm just going to allow because I can delete you later. Anything fancy in here, easy to get to. Only 22%. Here we go. Here's a good number to put in your biscuits. Only 22% of Americans are aware from podcasts from 2006 to 2022. Now it's up to 79%. Okay? So, anyway, good stat to know. But let's get back to where we were. Apple Podcasts. Okay? Let's do this. Spotify. All right, so they got 300 million. 300 million. That's a lot of folk. That's almost America. Right? How many users on YouTube? Just do this, see how good she go. Okay? I don't know what school you went to, Miss Eileen. I don't know what the school system in Philadelphia and North Click looked like. But in the school I went to, 300 million versus 2 billion is about this much difference. Just saying. Who cares about Apple Podcasts? I say that as a diehard Apple person. Not relevant today. 3 weeks ago, relevant AF. This week here, nobody cares. Over. Okay? Should you still be on Apple Podcasts? Why, yes. Should you still drop your audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever your podcast getting is got? Why, yes. Those would now be your discovery channels. But if my goal is to sell orange lens rags, do I want to put a little cart on the corner and catch drive-by people, or do I want a store in the mall right next to the Apple Store? I want a store in the mall right next to the Apple Store. YouTube is that. You know what I'm saying? YouTube is that. YouTube is selling toilet paper next to the taco stand. Everybody needs it. All right. Same thing, Matt. I already explained that one, but just to make sure we covered it again, who cares? Over. Let it go. Let it go, Elsa. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Now, Rich says that the podcast tab there for months still not playable in the YouTube app. I had a very similar experience. Doesn't matter. It will be fixed, and it will be fixed quickly. Let's say they don't fix it until June. Who cares? 2 billion people. You know what I'm saying? But there's Shorts is averaging 50 billion views. I think it's a day. Let me just double check that. I had this slide in my thing, but I don't feel like digging out my thing. It's crazy. I might have to pull out my slide because I do have it listed in my slide. But it is psycho. When I made the slide, it was at 30 billion, but now it's at 50 billion. It is super stupid. So don't get caught up in thinking about what was. That's the one thing about tech people. You got to get real good. Tech people need to have somewhat of a short-term memory, because whatever was won't be that next week. It's just how the cookie crumbles. And we just got to get used to it. You know what I'm saying? It's almost, what that boy named? Shock G. Stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. Let me get the actual number out of my keynote slide. It's just one of those things, people. And I know it throws people off because everybody wants it to be simple and easy. But here's the truth, fam. If it's that easy, everyone that can do it. You know what I'm saying? If it's that easy, everybody can do it. And if everybody can do it, what is your unique selling point, right? Okay, yes. So when I made this slide, YouTube Shorts was getting over 30 billion daily views. Currently, YouTube Short is getting over 50 billion daily views. So while you're watching the short, and it bumps you onto a podcast that piques your interest, right? It's Pique, not Peak. When it piques your interest, you go, ooh, this lady is good. Dang, she got little southern twins. She's nice. She explains tech in a simple manner. She got her hair dead. She cute. Boom. I'm going to watch her. Subscribe. Do we really care what Apple Podcast does? With their 22 million people or whatever the heck that number was? No, we just don't. We straight up don't. So it's one of those things, but yeah. And again, I think I did check the podcast on music. It didn't really work, but it worked. So again, I'm confused. How is the most popular? It can't play content inside an RSS feed. Here's why RSS feeds need to eat a Here's why RSS feeds, because people subscribe and don't always listen. So that's why everybody wants the RSS feed to work, because your subscriber numbers look amazing. But actual views or whatever, no. I have podcasts in my RSS feed that I used to listen to religiously, and I have now lost my religion, REM, and I don't listen to that no more. But my phone every time automatically downloads and puts it in the list, right? When I get tired of seeing a little red bubble, Kat Mulvihill, she can't stand red bubbles, I'll go in and say, mark all as listened. Gone. Now it's clean, right? So The reason why podcasters are so stuck on old RSS way is it's really good for your ego, but it's lies. It's all lies. Like nobody is really real deal doing that old subscriber type thing, right? So the reason why YouTube is the longest is because the box allows you to sit there and really absorb the content, right? It allows you to have it on in the background. This thing oftentimes will play videos 5, 6, 7 days straight before I come in and actively change it, right? So all of the people that are making these little aerial do-jammies that make good, back action for my screen, they're getting fantastic watch times because of me, right? There are work environments where they'll put on a coding podcast all day or marketing podcast all day, and it's just running, right? That's how the JRE had so many views before he switched to Spotify like a ding dong. I mean, they paid him, but it's probably not going to work out for him. If he'd have waited 2 more years for YouTube to mark him as the number one, he would probably make more. But anyway, who cares about him? The point is, every TV sold in probably like the last 8 years has a podcast player on it called YouTube. It's the only podcast player on many of these TVs. All right. Anyway. Go ahead. The podcast purists can eat it too. Listen, gatekeepers and purists die really hard and fast in tech. I just want to let you know that. We can go down the list and name them. I was a purist. And I fought tooth and nail about vertical video because I have been doing video the way I've been doing it my whole life. When the flip video camera came out circa 2010, I hated that damn thing. When Sony first made the PC9, which was a square box video camera that looked a little bit something like this with a flip out screen and people went around, I was like, Sony, that's just dumb. And then next thing you know, the flip came out and then Bloggies came out and then the phone came out. And now we can't get rid of vertical videos. As a matter of fact, I just said 50 billion views a day, vertical videos. So where did my purist for the true 16:9 video come from? My upbringing, my learning, the way I always did it. If we did things I always did, or we did things the way we always did, we'd be dragging knuckles and clubbing the woolly mammoth and not talking to each other on YouTube. Things progress, things move, things advance. The purists, they can eat a sausage as well. It doesn't matter. If you think about what they think about and you care about what they care about, you're going to lose this battle. So I'm just trying to warn you, today counts. March 18, 2023 forward. Looking backward will serve you no purpose in this context. Okay? I'm a hardcore history buff, Japanese history major, in fact. But in this context, what happened yesterday is moot. I almost messed that up. All is well. Yes, it is. Baby Girl and I started a podcast in a few weeks talking all about different topics of life, teens, and single moms. Will we start a new channel or include that in the fam channel? Here's the thing. YouTube is setting it up so you don't have to start a new channel. Like you just take a podcast is a playlist. Let's say this again. Podcast is a playlist. Let's slow it down for the people in the back. Podcast is a playlist. They say if you say it 3 times, people will lock it in their dome. You don't have to. An extra channel is more work. You know what I mean? An extra channel is more work. An extra channel requires you to do more things. An extra channel just probably adds grease to the wheel. If your podcast is on topic with your current channel, just use a playlist and you'll be gravy. If your podcast is far left from your everyday content or even content adjacent, I might start another channel, right? In theory, I could absorb the Creator 50 channel into this channel because it's still talking about YouTube and growth and creation and content making and mindset and all of the above. And I are a creator that is Gen X. So I could just bring it in here and my show would probably do better. So I have a lot of thinking to do in that manner. And I'm probably going to do one of these. Tails. And pick it. Why? Because this is all experimentation. And you just, you do what you do. And then if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you try something else. Like at the end of the day, it's all experimentation. I think so many people are afraid to get things wrong that this is your constant holdback. The number one holdback in content creation is fear of getting it wrong. And it's all fixable. It's all fixable. Unless you do something stupid and get canceled, it's all fixable. So don't be afraid to get it wrong. The Big One Show. Oh, that's good. Let me catch up. I'm so behind. Da, 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 da. Yes, the definition of the podcast has changed. I love you, Matt. Thank you for getting it. It's been a struggle, man. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. Not yet. Okay, not yet. I'm telling you, podcast 2.0. Right now, me and English Fairs, Tom, Jared, and myself, the attorneys of Book Mirror, Spink, and Rock, we've been having this conversation about what exactly is Podcast 2.0. Podcast 2.0 is still baking, and RSS will not necessarily be part of it because they're semi-irrelevant already today. Most people don't use them the way that we use them. I use it. I know I'm assuming you do, but that stuff's not going to matter anymore. We have highly advanced search engines and capabilities that you really don't even need that syndication feed per se any longer. Oh yeah, that counts. You're good. You're good, Obs. Thanks, G. Them way back. What's up, Kat? How you doing, Ma? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think. It really won't matter what you think. And I'm not, you know me, Rich. I'm just telling you what it is. It's not going to be here. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll put a full bet that the way we use RSS today will be completely ghost in like 18 months or less. I'll go ahead and put that on camera. I said about 20-ish months ago, YouTube is going to go podcast. And when YouTube goes podcast, they're going to upheaval everything. They're going to change everything. Everybody's like, YouTube's not going to do podcasts. YouTube not. What about the RSS? That was the same conversation from back then. You know what YouTube did? Hi, we've got podcasts on YouTube, and this is what we're doing. And people are still doubting them. It doesn't make sense. Why would you doubt a 2 billion user a day behemoth? And growing, not growing, still growing. Why would you doubt the behemoth? Like the minute that Kai got moved over to the head of YouTube podcast, things have been popping. Just because they're slow doesn't mean they don't finally get it. They're like that team that pulls their act together in the fourth quarter and comes by. So it's okay. Like, you guys can ride RSS to death. I'm not caring. I'm just going to ignore it because it never really worked much in the first place anyway. The reason, the reason why everybody's asking about Apple is because many of us distribute to more than just YouTube, right? Yes, that's my point. That is my point. Thank you. I said, and. It is an and. I said at the very beginning, should you stop posting to these others? No, that would be absolutely stupid. Right? You should absolutely do it the way you've been doing it, but you also should be paying attention to this new, because if your goal is growth, if your goal is discoverability, that's what all the RSS-oriented tools suck at. The reason why I use Captivate above all other podcast hosts, even though Captivate doesn't even have video, is Captivate is the best at helping you with your growth. If you're trying to grow a podcast, and every single conference I go to, how do I grow my podcast? How do I get more viewers? YouTube. Period. Right? Like, this is what it is. So Parks Pro is 100% correct. It is a both. right? But I'm just trying to tell you that when YouTube they're still baking. When they're done, they're going to bury the traditional method. Just like they basically have buried television. Television is horrible now. Thank you, YouTube. Television is straight up horrible now, right? When Apple and Spotify came out, they basically buried radio. Radio still exists. It's, what's the word we're looking for? It's a fragment of what it used to be, but with Apple and Spotify being the top two distribution sources right now, really not going to matter. I'm just telling you, it's just not. So you can do what you do. Do it the way you want to do it. You do not have to listen to me at all. But I am the type of person that would be like, ha ha, I told you. Okay? So hold on to that for dear life. To this day. That's right. Shorts have to do with podcasts. Perfect question. So I have a podcast and I'm trying to grow my base. And let's say I have a podcast that is a roundtable with a bunch of creators talking about creator-oriented topics. Let's say I take 60-second clips out of that podcast and placed it as YouTube Shorts. Because why? 50 billion with the B views a day. 50 billion. And in that 50 billion clip, you take a little snippet of some lady from Canada and some British dude living in Thailand conversing about a particular topic with a little bit of fire. And you post that as a short. And that short gets 5, 6, 7, 8 million views because it's a very nice exchange. And people are like, man, I want to hear more. Click on the channel. Oh, this is a podcast about creators and what creators are thinking about. I'm a creator. I'm what creators are thinking about. Subscribe. That's exactly what it has to do with it. Will that work better than being on Instagram going, hey, leave Instagram and come to YouTube and subscribe to my podcast? Yes. Will that work better than hearing a promotion on Apple saying, you know, here's my podcast? The only way to get that type of promotion on Apple is get another person to play that clip for you, because you can't necessarily put that clip on Apple or Spotify or Outcast or Castro or Pocket Cast or Google or Stitcher. You know what the deal is. But on YouTube, it's part of the culture, for the culture, right? So that's exactly what Shorts. 50 billion views a day is free advertisement for your podcasts. They even put, let me get over here to this browsy. If it's on here, where'd my tools go? Maybe because I am full screen. Oh, you know what? This one might be brand new. Let me pull up another video just randomly. And yep, there it is. Actually, it's on the first one. It was just hiding. I'm silly. Okay, so let me put this back here. Stop that. SC. Let me put this back here. Okay, so if I were to go to here and scroll, click right here, you see there is a scissors. If YouTube spent their time and a couple $1 million developing said scissors so that you can make a clip and turn it into a short or put it in a newsletter or stick it on your site so that you can promote your show, they want you to use it. It's there. The proof is in the scissors. Guys, I'm just fired up because this is working. Trust me. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You do what the hell you want to do. Hey, just don't be like, hey, man, Doc, why didn't you tell me? I'm telling you now because I am standing here in full cockiness. Yes, I was absolutely right about YouTube podcasts. Many people doubted me. Many people said I was crazy. And every time the little signs came out, they go, yeah, that's a movement, but it still don't have RSS. And I was like, whatever. And I'm sticking to this gun. I will die on this sword. If you have that same level of conviction about whatever you talk about, you'll be great. But trust me, Raiders still the best team in the world, even though they suck. Celtics is still the best team in the world, even though they suck. Manchester United is the best team in the world, even though we're at third place. And YouTube podcast is legit. That's it. That's it. That is it. Yes, obviously YouTube has made some mistakes because 35 people watching and 15 likes. Yes. My mom and her 50 with her smart only apps. Thank you. I'm telling you, dude, same thing. Bubba is 77. She only uses her TV now. She presses the YouTube button. The regular TV part barely comes on anymore. Why? Because the YouTube button allows an Okinawan lady living in Hawaii to watch Okinawan programs and Okinawan shows and cooks and Japanese-oriented content from her TV. When I got her a YouTube premium account about a year and a half ago and put her on the YouTube, I swear to you, she stopped watching the regular TV with the exception of the 6 o'clock news. She watches that every night for God knows what reason. It's mostly dumb stuff. But she spends the majority of her time watching that. Now, what is she doing with this stuff she's watching? She's getting back into gardening. She was a farmer as a kid, right? Getting back into gardening, watching our partner in crime, Dina, learning new recipes, trying new stuff. Every Sunday now, instead of traditional dinner that we always got, she's trying all kind of things. She's trying Korean food. She's trying Italian food. This is literally what this lady consumes now, right? The garden has totally gone better. And whoever just popped that dislike button, I love you. Anyway, that's funny. I got to see it happen live and went, ew. I don't care. Everybody, you can press the dislike button too if you want. I don't care. All right? I know where my people at. Anyway, so yeah, it is true. JFK is dead solid right. Like so many people are like loving that, right? Just loving that YouTube situation on the TV. It comes in handy. Right? See, it's telling you, man. It's funny to hear that because it's so true, right? It's so true. Appreciate you. Dude, I went to the taco stand. I took Kurt, Diana, and Kat to the taco stand in San Diego. It's the name of a store. It's the dumbest name of a store ever, but their tacos are freaking so good. And they were like, they had the same reaction I had when I first heard it. There's no way a place named the taco stand could be that good. It's phenoms. It's phenoms. Yo, what it up, Julie? Wow, good to see you here. Good to see you here. I see Louise talking to Roy. I see. Rich is in his semantics over here. All right, I'm just saying, okay, y'all keep knocking yourselves out. Keep playing the RSS thing. Again, I'm not going to cancel my RSS coming out of Captivate. I'm not that dumb, right? But I'm telling you, this is the money shot right here. So anyway, it doesn't require any much work. This is the best part about it. If you're following the program, which is record your podcast live and then edit it, you already did all the work anyway, right? So you already have it. Just set it as a playlist. As a matter of fact, I could take all the lives that I've done for the last 3 years and set them as a playlist and just let it rock, and it will be a pretty decent podcast, honestly. I guess I'm just saying that because I'm biased. The TV. I don't use YouTube TV, which is funny. I did it for like a year and I'm over it. Right. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. J-Rad is here. J-Rad. Yeah, because Jared and I were talking about it yesterday because both of us looked at our content on YouTube Music and it's there It's just not fully baked yet. But again, I don't think it's relevant. I think it will be fixed in a very short time. Let me copy this link and I will show you what it looked like, what it be like. All right, so let me go ahead and pop this real quick. Boom. So this is what Rich was talking about. Jared had the same problem with the Hive. Over here, you'll see there's a little thing. But look, it's all there. Like, it's all set up and ready to go. The picture's there to shuffle the playlist. It's all there. All it is waiting on is for them to turn on a little something, right? So it's coming. It's coming. Now, they've also stated that inside your podcast, you're going to get some special podcast tools, like special types of monetization, special types of promotion. So they're working to make sure that the podcasters win. You can use the scissors to make whatever. It's completely up to you. Yo, Bill, what it do? 2 podcasts, going to get them both of you 100%, bro, 100%. I really like this background. You got that whole Keith Olbermann vibe popping. Nice, Bill. Nice, Bill. Good to see you here. Welcome, as we say in these parts, aloha. Welcome to the show. Yeah, you know, pretty much my TV is only on for Manchester games, and now I don't even watch them on TV. I watch them with the app. Boom, boom, boom. It's okay, Rich. Everybody, if you want to be like Rich, you can press the dislike button too. Matter of fact, press it twice. Can you talk a little bit about video versus audio podcast? Yes, at this point in time, let me go. Kat, thank you so much for this. Kat's point is, at this point, I wanted to start one, but I think it would be better as a video. But do I need to make it so it can be listened to as well? Yes and no. I think it's fully okay to do what works best for your audience. Not what works best for you, not what works best for YouTube or for Apple or Spotify or whatever. You want to create at what works best for your audience. For instance, in the flow, we do understand that a large amount of people are going to listen to it. And we also understand a large amount of people are going to listen to it from a television, actively listening. As a matter of fact, on most of you guys' TV right now, if you go in and you just open up the TV and then you look at the top as you're scrolling down, each TV is a little different. There'll be little bubbles, and these little bubbles are podcasts or whatever that you can get to, right? In those little bubbles, one of them will say listenable, right? If you do this a lot, especially on a particular device, one of them will say listenable. In my particular case, it has changed from listenable to podcast. So in most people's case, this third tab has always been listenable in about the past year. So you'd have whatever, listenable. Now it's podcast, okay? So look, all these podcasts is in there already. Look, even India showed up in the podcast tab. Now, granted, might be because I'm subscribed to her, but she did 100 shows in a row, right? So she got in there, right? A lot of these stuff haven't been officially converted to podcasts. This is a podcast, right? We know this dude's a podcast, but you'll see stuff in here that's not right. They're knowing that people are going to fix it. By the way, Andrew Huberman, this dude is bomb, by the way, right? This dude is absolutely bomb. Really love his content. Anyway, so yeah, at this point in time, I would still do video. What I'm doing when I'm going around the country and I'm doing my talks, I am doing my talks and start with live video first, right? So when I spoke at Content Marketing World about podcasts, I talked about podcasts first. Next week, I am speaking at PodFest Global, and I'm talking about doing your video first. Even if you only want to do an audio podcast, record it as a live video, right? So right now, if I was going to start brand new, my advice would be to go video anyway, even if you delete the video side and just keep the audio side, because it just records better. It edits better. It's way simpler, right? It takes more resources to edit a video podcast, but it's easier to edit when you have something to see. So in the process of making it listen to, if you have something visual, tell the people and keep it brief, knowing that they can't see. Be like, I do have supplemental video that will let you see what's happening. It's in the show notes. Check out the show notes. Click on the video. You'll see what I'm doing. But encourage them to get over to the video side. At the end of the day, it's going to take some time, but audio podcasts will slowly but surely get taken over by video podcasts. Just like people Paul age, remember Groucho and them on George Allen and Gracie. You know, they used to be on the radio and they all converted into TV. We're in that same inflection point right now. Yes, it is. It's Kathy. So she's good. Oh, you did? That's impressive. Thank you. That's cool. Kathy's going to beat you up in class, Paul. You know what, honestly, Ed, it's not a point of inside scoop. I really do study and pay attention to this stuff because you should in any field. I like the doctors have medical, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not journals. There we go. You have medical journals, architectural journals. There's even legal journals. Like we kind of have a couple of newsletters that are like that for us tech folks. But honestly, I just look at the YouTube, put the answers out. I look at the YouTube creators blog. I look at the YouTube creators channel. I just absorb that type of stuff from them because they give you the bleeding answers, right? You know what I'm saying? It really gives you the answers, right? So I wanted to show there is just a couple things that you got to think about as you go ahead and get this done, and then we'll wrap this up. To Kathy's point, if you are doing stuff, again, video-oriented, and you want to keep your RSS feed, I'm sorry, that was dismissive. If you want to keep your RSS feed, just make sure you're telling the listeners that you have to do something visual. Try to explain it in descriptive language so that they can still play along at home, and then add supplemental material in your show notes that would allow them to get to that particular point. You know what I'm saying? What did Ob say? Oh, there you go. He's fantastic. There you go. Cool. I was like, I was getting me in trouble. So yeah, it just, as long as you're remembering that, and you know, to Rich and Matt and Eileen's point, it's not going to be overnight, but it is going to happen, right? I say 18-ish months. I was off by 6 months on this happening. I had like 18-ish months back when I first called it, back when Diana and I were doing a show on Thursdays. I called it way back then. It's coming. And I do believe that they will fix the music side. But just so you know that you're in good company, Tom Bucks is curmudgeon-y on the process as well. He refuses to even think about it until they have like a legit RSS feed. He refuses to understand that the RSS feed is really short-lived. It doesn't match. I couldn't think of one that quick. It's coming. It's coming. And I will tell you, let me pull this up real quick. You should be paying attention to Podcast 2.0 and what's happening in that space, right? So the Podcast 2.0 space is the difference. Right now, there is still a lot of crypto noise in the Podcast 2.0 space. Ignore the crypto noise and just think a little bit more about how you can be on point when the new tools come and the new tools change, okay? Now, anybody that wants to learn more about this and like the necessary steps or whatever, I would highly suggest you jump on over to the old Discord. Jump over to the old Discord and get in the Discord channel. We talk about all kind of cool things in there, right? I want to remind you about the mail list. Paul will put the link in. If not, the link will be in the description. You want to get on the mail list. I'm going to keep you up to date. And I think we will dig deeper into some of the processes and how to as they develop. Like just really paying attention to what's going on, paying attention to what's developed. I am super excited. Today we had a bunch of new people in here. So big ups to y'all. Aloha. Welcome to the family. Our people are fun. We go. we're very lively bunch. So if you're like us and you're a little different, this might be a good spot for you. Come and kick it with us. We have a blast. If nothing else, we have fun just picking on Paul. So yes, there you go. Apple will probably. Okay, let's put this back. Roll it back. Apple had video podcasts first. And then recently, like within the last 2 years, they kind of removed it and they'll put it back. And the reason why they had it first is because of the Apple TV. They will, once YouTube does what they're doing right now, Apple will rebake that pie. I put money on that too. Apple will absolutely rebake that pie. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go digging into jobs at apple.com and see if they're looking for anybody in the podcast department. Not because I want to take it, but that's how you find out what companies are going to do. Look at their job listings. If there's a company that you like and you're wondering what they're working on in the future, go to their job listings and look. That's where all of the leaks come from. That's how you knew YouTube was getting there, because YouTube was looking for a head of podcasting. They hired within, they hired Kai, but I knew this months ago. My secret is because I scrubbed the career spots available at YouTube and they were looking for head of podcasting. Hello, there's my sauce. Now you found the secret. Now you found the secret. Okay, let's go, people. Let's go. Now, I will say, come through Tuesday. Let's see what we do. Again, I am speaking next week. What did I do with those pictures? Why am I crazy? I am speaking next week at Podfest, and I will put that information in the chat because I have no idea what the heck I moved those pictures to. Oh, I know what I did. I downloaded them on my other computer. What a ding dong. What a ding dong. That's not smart, Doc. That is not smart. Anyway, I will put it in the newsletter. I'll send it to you guys. I'll put it in Discord so you can find it. Everybody, make sure you come and join the Discord. And if you need any help or coaching, whatever, we have some membership opportunities in there you can check out inside the Discord, and we will help you get it twisted. I appreciate all of y'all. And class people, I will see you in class in, why is he dumb? Hour and a half. Hour and a half. Oh my, it's slightly more than an hour and a half. It's an hour and 45 minutes, but you know what it is. You guys stop messing with me. Oh my God, this has been good. I can't wait to see what happens next with YouTube podcasts. It's going to be phenomenal. Thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to smash that like button on the way out. And because this guy will probably get demonetized, please, you can send your super thanks or super chats, whatever. We appreciate you. Go buy something from Amazon shop, docrock.live/Amazon. All of those things help support the channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Appreciate you. Oh, you did not do that again. Why? Why? Jesus criminy. Why? Sorry. I've unplugged the drive. It's in my bag still. It's in my bag still from when I went on a trip. I don't have my outro. Let me see. Do I have another copy someplace? What a ding dong. What a ding dong. I guess I should unpack my suitcase and pull my drive out because it has all of the files in there. Never mind. We'll just go.
City of mine.
Guess who's back?
How I love,
Back
how
again.
I love the city of
Shady's
mine.
back.
It
Oh my
never
God,
gets
what
me
a
down.
donkey.
City of mine. How I love the city of mine. It never gets me down. Yeah.
I was was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop worked his life when it's complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7.